Imagine a world ruled by ice. A vast frozen landscape where survival is a daily battle. Here, amidst biting winds and endless snow, colossal beasts roamed free. Mammoths with tusks like ancient trees, giant bison with the power of an avalanche, and woolly rhinos armored in thick fur. To our ancestors, these were not just animals. They were walking mountains of food, warmth, and life itself. But how did early humans, armed with nothing but stone and courage, manage to hunt these giants? This is the story of their ingenuity, their teamwork, and the forgotten secrets that allowed them to conquer the Ice Age. Before the hunt began, there was preparation. In the flickering firelight of their caves, hunters painstakingly crafted their tools for survival. Every spear point was a masterpiece of necessity, chipped from flint with practiced precision until it was razor-sharp. Wood was straightened over fire, hardened, and bound to the stone tips with animal sinew. On the cave walls, the story of the hunt was told before it even happened. Charcoal and ochre pigments brought visions to life plans, strategies, and perhaps even prayers for success. This was more than just art. It was a blueprint for life, a sacred text written in stone. The first clue was always on the ground. A single footprint, pressed deep into the frozen earth, told a story. Our ancestors were master trackers, reading the land like an open book. They could tell the size of the beast, its direction, how long ago it passed, and even if it was injured. A broken branch, a tuft of shaggy fur caught on a thorny bush, nothing escaped their trained eyes. They followed these subtle signs for days, their senses honed to a razor's edge, silently stalking their monumental prey across the unforgiving tundra, moving closer with every step. Once the target was chosen, the real planning began. The clan would gather, a council of hunters drawing maps in the dirt with sticks. Every member had a role. The fastest would be flankers, the strongest would be spear throwers, and the wisest would direct the entire operation. They communicated not with loud words that might scare their prey, but with a complex language of hand signals and gestures. It was a silent, deadly dance of strategy. The tension was immense, as every decision carried the weight of the tribe's survival. One mistake could mean starvation or death. Direct confrontation with a mammoth was suicide. Instead, our ancestors used their greatest weapon, their minds. They were brilliant engineers of the Stone Age. Working together, they would dig massive pit traps, deep enough to hold a giant. The bottom would be lined with sharpened wooden stakes, hardened in fire, waiting for the unsuspecting beast. The trap was then masterfully camouflaged with a fragile lattice of branches, leaves, and a final dusting of snow, making it indistinguishable from the surrounding landscape. It was a patient and deadly invitation, hidden in plain sight. With the trap set, the ambush was ready. Hunters would paint their bodies with mud and clay, breaking up their human shape to blend seamlessly with the rocks and shadows. They would wait, sometimes for days, motionless and silent. Then, the signal would be given. The goal was not to attack, but to confuse and to steer. Using the two things megafauna feared most, fire and noise, they would create a wall of chaos. Flaming torches and terrifying shouts would erupt from the silence, panicking the herd and driving them away from safety, funneling them toward the prepared trap. The ground thundered as the panicked herd began to run. This was the most dangerous moment. The hunters became shepherds of giants, sprinting alongside the stampeding beasts. They were a blur of motion, using fire and sound to guide the chaos, to steer the terrified animals along a pre-planned path. It was a high-stakes chase where a single misstep meant being trampled underfoot. With spears held ready, they skillfully directed the herd, pushing them closer and closer to the hidden danger that awaited them. Suddenly, the earth gave way. The led mammoth, or perhaps a young one separated from the herd, would plummet into the pit. The moment of capture was not one of loud triumph, but of focused intensity. Surrounded and trapped, the mighty beast was now vulnerable. From the edges of the pit, the hunters would move in. With coordinated effort, They cast their heavy spears, aiming for vital points. It was a display of incredible bravery and teamwork, a final dramatic confrontation that would decide the fate of both the hunters and the hunted. The success of the hunt meant the tribe would live. But the work was far from over. With stone blades and axes, the hunters would begin the enormous task of butchering the carcass. Every part of the animal was used. The meat provided food for weeks. The thick layers of fat were a precious source of energy. The hide would become clothing and shelter, and the bones and tusks would be crafted into tools, weapons, and art. The meat was carefully cut and stored in natural freezers dug into the snow and ice, preserving the bounty for the harsh winter ahead. As the sun set over the icy peaks, the clan would gather around a roaring fire. The air, once filled with the tension of the hunt, now hummed with celebration and relief. The taste of roasted mammoth was the taste of victory, of life. Stories of the hunt would be told, the bravery of the hunters honored, and the spirit of the great beast respected. The giant skull, a monument to their achievement, would stand as a reminder of their strength and unity. In the warmth of the cave, surrounded by family, they had not just survived another day. They had triumphed. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you were captivated by the story of our ancestors, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more adventures into the distant past. See you next time.